full ISO certifications in qualities, information systems, and business continuity and asset management also. So I would like us to appreciate Miss Edith properly and welcome her to the class right now. Please, you can react or you can send a message in the chat box, or you can just say good morning by unmuting your mic to speak. Miss Edith, can you hear me?
Absolutely. I can hear you. Good
Oh,
morning. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me.
yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
I meant to.
Gatti, I see you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone on the call, and thank you for that introduction, Damola. I'm excited to be back to class today. Okay, and we have 13 of us in the class. I am hoping that would have more to join us. Okay, I'm hoping would have more students to join us because today's class is very important as a business owner, as an inspiring or an aspiring, rather, aspiring entrepreneur, or even if you are you already own a big business. I mean, it's always important that we remind ourselves some of these things about business and its sustainability. Okay, so I'm excited, and I promise today's class is going to be very interesting. We have a very interesting topic to cover today. Okay, so before I start, if you were with us when we did the introduction of this course, I think that was 2 weeks ago. If you were with us on that call, please let me know in the chat room. If you were with us, you were there during the introduction of this course. Please indicate in the chat room. Just type yes. Type yes, yes, yes. Type yes. Okay, okay. Who else? Who else? Who else? Action of this course about 2 weeks ago. Is it only Gatti? Who else? Please make use of the chat room. Just put yes, type yes in there. Wow. So I'm assuming it was only Gatti that was with us on that call. Okay, so what I wanted to ask is I did mention that you need to work on something. Pretty beauty, partially. Who can remember what I mentioned that we should work on? Because when I come to take my class, I would like you to share your screen and show me what you've got, what you've done. Can remember. Pretty beauty. I hope you stayed to the point where I mentioned that. Gatti, can you help us? Can you help us? I did mention a particular applicant account, do something on it, and when we come to class, good, yes, yes, good, good, good. So since I have just Gatti and a pretty beauty, so I would now ask, were you able to register on Canva and try your hands on something? Were you able to? Were you able to do a design or a PowerPoint or pitch deck, or did you try your hands on anything at all? Or you were busy with work, busy with business, and you forgot? Okay. Okay, so if we did not, I'm still encouraging us because it's as a business owner, as an aspiring entrepreneur, some of these things you can do it for yourself without having to outsource it and outsource it rather, and having to pay for those services. These are some of the things you can do while seated at home or in your office or in your place of business, and design your promotional flyer. Okay, and prepare your pitch deck if you are seeking a sponsorship or partnership or whatever it is, or grant. Okay, so you can use these apps and pay for the service. So once again, please register and have an account on Canva and try your hand. It's actually very easy. You just have to pay attention, and the templates are there. Okay, the templates are there, and you just would have a good time on the application. Okay, so maybe Damola, you can send in the chat room the link for them to download Canva. Okay, or rather sign up on Canva rather. All right, so let's go straight to what we have this morning. Let me pull up my slide. Just give me a split second. Okay, here we go. Okay, so please let me know in the chat room if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen from your end? Okay, Olabode, you've been using it. Okay, amazing, amazing. So I would like to hear from you so that others would also understand that it is a very useful app for business owners and whatnot. So can you unmute yourself and tell us, share your experience? Okay, the experience you've had using Canva.
All right. Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I've been using Canva for a while.
Good
I think
morning.
after my 10th project, I was issued a certificate congratulating me. Then after I hit I think the Z50 project, they also did the same. So now I've lost count. So I've done quite a lot of cards, whether complimentary cards, whether birthday cards, whether some form of template and other things that I shared on my LinkedIn. So there are a couple of things I've done. Then the only thing is that there is a little fee attached to be able to access some of the templates. So at those instances, for example, I have one that maybe you just want to pay for one day. I think it's 400 naira. Then if you want to pay for 1 week, I think it's about less than 2,000 naira. So you'll be able to access some templates that has been pre-designed. So then you'll be able to edit some things, like if you have a picture of yours and you have a background that does not align with the template you want to use, so you can remove the background and you have the paid version. So it's very good app to say, in a summary. So it's very fantastic. You enjoy using it, and there are quite a lot of things that people will do, and you'll be wondering how did they do it. So the magic is with Canva. So thanks so much for the time.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. So I see, Rick, I see your chat. You have Canva account and have been using it for presentation and video etc. Absolutely. Okay, so probably at the end of this class, if we still have time, I will just go over to Canva, and for those who have not come across it, we would see one or two things on the platform. Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I begin, right, today actually we're going to be looking at achieving work, okay? And it's a privilege to be the one to walk you through what I consider one of the most practical and transformative topics in business. Okay, and before I begin, let me ask a question. Put in the chat room, let me know in the chat room if you have ever walked into a shop to arrive, or worse, it arrived damaged or completely wrong. Let me know in the chat room if you have had this particular experience. Let me see. If you've walked into a shop, you ordered something and it took forever for them to bring it out, and when they brought it out, or you ordered online and it took forever for it to arrive, and when it arrived, it was damaged or completely a wrong item. Okay, let me see your response in the chat room. Have you ever been in such a situation? Let me know in the chat room. Let me know in the chat room. Anyone? Okay, Omo, you've been in such situations. Okay, anyone else? Pretty beauty. Okay. I mean, I have been in such a situation before. Now, every single one of those frustrating experiences is as a result of poor operations management. And today we're going to fix that, at least probably in your business, or, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you would know how to, make sure that someone will not walk into your business space and then experience such. So whether you're running, let's say, maybe a suya spot somewhere in Abuja, or you have a fashion boutique in Accra, okay, or you have a rice processing plant maybe in Kanu, okay, you have a beauty supply shop maybe in Indonesia, or you are still dreaming of starting your first business, this session is designed to specifically for you. So by the end of today, you will understand how the world's best businesses, let's say from Toyota to Dangote, from MTN to ShopRite, how they design, manage, improve their operations. And more importantly, you would know how to apply the same principle in your own context. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay. So before we dive in, what you see on your screen are the areas we're going to be covering in today's class. Okay. Now, let's start with a question that sounds almost too simple. What is production, right? So production is the, process of taking inputs. So your inputs would be your raw materials, your workers, your money, your machine, your knowledge, and then transform them into outputs. So outputs would be your finished goods, your services, the value for customers that ultimately generate revenue for your business. Okay, so it is the process of the production is the process of taking your inputs and then transforming them into outputs. And you see what your inputs can be and what your outputs can be in your business. Now you look at the two columns, right? So like I've said, you've seen what your inputs are and what your outputs are. So let's think of let's say a mama put. For those who know mama put, the roadside food vendor, right? Let's think of the roadside food vendor, let's say in Lagos or Accra, right? What are the inputs for the roadside food vendors? What are the inputs? So the input would be something like the tomatoes, the pepper, the palm oil, the chicken, gas cooker, even the kitchen staff, right? The recipe, even the knowledge. These are the inputs, right? And the output would be that plate of delicious jollof rice served hot, to that hungry customer who pays whatever amount it is for it. So the payment is the revenue, and that satisfied customer who would return tomorrow definitely. And that satisfied customer is the added value. Okay, so you see the input is not just materials, even the knowledge, even the cook or the chef, they are all part of the input. Okay, so this same logic applies to, let's say, a phone repairer, okay, or a phone repair shop in maybe somewhere in Indonesia, or a cassava processing plant, maybe somewhere in Osun State, okay, or even a hair salon, maybe somewhere in Accra or Kumasi, right? So every business, no matter how big or small, is in the business of transforming inputs into valuable outputs. Okay, so the question would be, how well are you doing it? How well are you doing it? How well are you transforming inputs into outputs? Okay, so now let's look at operations management. Okay, we now that we've understood what production is, let's take it one step further. Okay, operations management is the deliberate management of that transformation process. Okay, the deliberate management of that transformation process. So making sure it happens efficiently, productively, and in a way that satisfies the customers. So this slide highlights the three pillars of operations management. We have efficiency, that is doing things right. So efficiency means getting the maximum output from minimum input. Okay, think of it like the fuel economy in a car. A fuel efficient car takes you farther on the same tank, and an efficient business, produces more with the same resource, or the same with fewer resource. Okay, and then we have productivity. Productivity is the ratio of output to input. So productivity is measurable. So if your bakery, for example, uses 50 kg of flour to produce 200 loaves of bread today, but tomorrow the same 50 kg produces 250 loaves, your productivity has improved. Nothing changed except how you have managed the process. Okay, so that's what we call productivity. And then customer satisfaction. This is meeting and exceeding expectation. And this is the ultimate test. Your operation can be efficient, but if customers are not satisfied, the business fails. So a restaurant that produces food quickly, but it tastes terrible, has not achieved operational success. So, customer satisfaction is the ultimate test. Okay, so like I said, if the restaurant that produces food too quickly, but it operational success. Okay, let's look at another example. I think a better example here would be, okay, so let's use Konga and Jumia in Nigeria. Okay, they are great examples, yes. So when these e-commerce companies first launched, others were frustrated, okay, as they improved their operations, better warehousing, better logistic routing, better inventory tracking. Delivery times actually dropped from 1 to 2 days. So efficiency improved productivity. Okay.
Hello, ma. Sorry to
Yes.
cut you. Your audio is breaking a bit, so
Oh,
yes.
okay. In that case, I think I would have to put on my second internet connectivity. So just give me 2 minutes to do that, so that in case one is angry, the other one can be happy. Okay, so give me just 2 minutes to do that.
All right, ma. So I'm sure she'll be back shortly. Let's just give her a few minutes to set up the other network. And the attendance form has been sent to the chat box. So kindly go to the chat box and fill out the attendance form. And before the end of the class, a feedback form will also be sent. So please let us all pay attention to the chat box because a lot of information is going through there. And also the link to Canva has also been sent. I'll resend that again right now so we can all easily get to Canva and start exploring it to be able to position ourselves better in our business.
Okay. How is my connection now? Is it, can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, it is clear and audible now.
Okay, good. All right. So let's go back to where we were. All right, so we were talking about customer satisfaction, and I did mention it is the ultimate test, right? It is the ultimate test. If every other thing is okay and then your customers are not satisfied, then you'd have a challenge being in business. Okay, you'd have a challenge being in business. So it's important that every factor that we've mentioned, where is my screen now? Where is, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, okay. All right, so customer satisfaction is the true test of the process of your business operation process. All right, so now let's look at why operations management matter, right? Some of you might be thinking, this sounds academic, but let me show you why operations management is deeply personal and directly tied to your business survival. So on this slide, it gives us 4 powerful reasons why operations management matter. One is reduce cost. So when you eliminate waste, that is your wasted time, wasted materials, wasted effort, your operating cost falls. So for a small business that is, operating on thin margin, this can be the difference between profit and loss. Okay, for example, that suya seller in Kano who used to throw away maybe 2 kg of unsold meat every night, okay, started adjusting his preparation quantities based on daily patterns. So let's say weekdays versus weekend. So he ends up saving 3,000 naira weekly, and that is a whooping 156,000 a year just from better operation. You see that? So it helps you better operation or better operation management helps you save costs. Okay. Second is it improves productivity. So more output from the same resources. So let's say, for example, a seamstress who reorganized her workplace, thread there, scissors there, fabric on the right, and all that, can complete 2 more outfits per day without working extra hours because everything is, well organized, right? And then we have the third one, maintain quality, right? So customers remember only quality, both good and bad, right? So imagine, for example, ShopRite's reputation in Ghana and Nigeria. It was built on consistent quality and clean stores. So one bad experience spreads fast, especially now that we have the social media. So one bad experience can spread fast. So quality actually matters. Quality is very important, and that is what customers remember. Okay, and then we have another reason why operations management matter is you compete globally. Let's say Indonesian businesses like Indomie compete globally because their operations are world class. They have high volume, low cost, consistent quality, and of course, Nigerian and Ghanaian businesses can achieve the same if they master their operations. We do have businesses that compete globally as well, but if we pay attention, to these things, you pay attention to your operations management, you'll be able to, compete globally. So why operations management matters is because it helps you reduce costs, it helps improve productivity, it helps maintain quality, and of course helps you to compete globally. So the bottom line is that good operations management is the engine of business growth. It is the engine of business growth. And as we go, as we take the slides one after the other, you would get to have a better understanding why this has to be paid keen attention to. I'm talking about operations management. Okay, so let's move on to the next, manufacturing versus service operation. Now, many of you might be thinking, oh, well, I don't run a factory. Does this apply to me? Well, the answer is absolutely yes. Okay, and let's see why. Now, there are 2 broad categories of operation. We have the manufacturing. The manufacturing simply is the production of tangible product. Those who are in manufacturing, you're producing a tangible product. So products can be products that you can touch, you can hold, you can store, okay? The value is embedded in the physical item. And then output can be made in advance and kept in stock. Okay, and the example would be, bottled water company, electronics, packaged food, cement, and the like. So if you are producing tangible products, then you are into manufacturing. And then the other one is the service operations. And when we talk about service operations, we're talking about intangible services. So output is experienced. It cannot be touched. It is experienced. It cannot be stored. Okay. The customers often participate in the delivery. So you cannot manufacture a haircut on Monday and deliver it on Friday. Okay, because what you're producing is service. You're not producing a tangible product. Okay. So another example is airlines, hospitals, barber shop, banks, restaurants. So these people, they offer services. Okay. So example, let's say Dangote Cement produces physical bags of cement that can be stacked in a warehouse. That is manufacturing. But when you walk into an access bank, okay, maybe in Ghana, in Lagos, or any other place, the bank teller serves you in real time. You cannot store that service. So that is service operation. So both types require excellent operations management, but the challenges differ, okay? Their challenges differ. In manufacturing, we worry about inventory and production efficiency. In service, we worry about the wait time, the service quality, and the customer experience. Okay, so here is why, here is a key insight for entrepreneurs. Even if your business is a service business, let's say a salon, a consulting firm, or a school, you still have an operational process, and that process can be managed, improved, and made world class. Okay, so it is important to know this. It's not only for those who produce tangible products that should pay attention to operations management. Whether you produce tangible or intangible products or service, then you have to pay attention to this aspect of your business. You're very important. Okay. So now let's look at customer satisfaction in operation, right? Here is a statement I want you to take note of. You might want to write it down, that modern operations management is customer driven. I would say that again, modern operations management is customer driven. That is the era we are. So quality and reliability are not optional. Quality and reliability are not optional. They are non-negotiable. Okay, they are non-negotiable competitive advantage. And this slide outlines 4 steps that connects your operation directly to your customer satisfaction. So let's take it one after the other. The first one is customer expectation. You must first understand what your customers actually want. Is it speed? Is it price? Is it quality? Is it reliability? Often it is a combination. So don't assume. You have to research, you have to ask. So first thing first is you need to understand your customer's expectation. Okay. And then second is your product quality. So your goods and services must perform as promised. Every single time they must perform as promised, not just good not just on good days, not just when the boss is watching. It has to be, it has to perform what it has promised every single time. Okay. And then another is, continuous improvement. Yes, customer expectations are not static. So what satisfied a customer, let's say in 2019, may not, satisfy them in 2025. So your operations must evolve. So you have to pay attention to improving continuously. And then we have, I would give an example here. For example, Chicken Republic in Nigeria, right? They have managed to maintain fairly consistent food quality and service speed across multiple locations. So whether you are in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, that consistency is not accidental. It is as a result of deliberate operations management. Okay, so compare that to the local eatery that is amazing one day and then terrible the other day. So the inconsistency kills repeat business. Okay, so it is important to pay attention to these areas. So customer satisfaction is very key to actually keeping your business afloat. So you look at the customer expectation, your product quality, you pay attention to it, reliable service delivery, and your continuous improvement are very, very important. Okay, so we have laid the foundation. Now let's move into what I call section 1, which is product processes. This is where we answer a very particular question. What method should your business use to produce its goods or services? The method you choose affects your costs, affects your speed, affects your flexibility, and your ability to serve customers. So let's explore the options. Okay. Now there are 3 core production processes, and they represent a spectrum from sameness to uniqueness. Okay, that's what I term it, from sameness to uniqueness. So let's take first mass production. Mass production is, where you produce in high volume and identical products. So think of millions of identical bottles of Coca-Cola or millions of Indomie noodle packs. So the same thing every single time at massive scale. So that is mass production. Okay, and then we have mass customization. This is also high volume, but personalized products. So think of ordering a customized phone case online with your name on it. It is made using a standard process, but personalized for you. So high volume meets personalization. Okay, so when we talk about mass customization, we're talking about high volume but personalized products. And then we have custom production. Of course, custom production, you have low volume but unique products. Low volume but unique products. So think of, let's say, a bespoke suit, a custom built house rather, or a one-off piece of jewelry made specially for one customer. So it is unique, it is flexible, it is typically more expensive. So when it comes to custom production, it is low volume and, but unique products. So before we go deeper, I want you to think about your own business or business that you admire. Okay, so which of these production process does it use? Okay, which of these production process does it use? I guess we have some very high network individuals on the call who probably have ordered maybe one Lamborghini, okay, and it's custom made. Okay, so we've looked at mass production, we've looked at mass customization, we've looked at custom products. So let's think, okay, I need your input here. So I want you to think of your own business or a business that you admire, okay? So which of these production processes does it use? You have, maybe there is a production facility around your location, okay? So think of one and tell me which of these production process does it use? Anyone? Anyone? Let me go to the chat room. Where is my cursor now? Okay. Okay. Okay, Gatti says military vehicles. So military vehicles, which of these production process does it use for its production? Tell us.
Yeah, that is for the custom production.
Okay, custom production. Good, good, good. Okay, any other person? Any other person? Any other person? Our class is interactive. So if you're here, be ready to think. I'm not just going to be the one talking. So be able to think and contribute, okay? Any other person? So the question is, I want you to think of a business, okay, that you admire, and then tell us what production process does it use for its production. Do they do mass production? Maybe you've ordered birthday cards or birthday souvenirs or whatever, okay? And it was custom made, okay, but produced in mass for 300 persons. So it could be your birthday card, it could be your wedding card. So there was mass, they used the mass customization process. So they produced high volume, but it was a personalized product, things like that. Okay, handbags, mass production, good, 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 good. Okay, all right, so thank you. Let's move on. Okay, do I have another? Okay, yeah, school uniforms. Okay, school uniforms, what kind of production process? What kind of production process? Souvenirs, yes. Souvenir, what kind of production process based on what you see on your screen? So if you tell us what business, you tell us what kind of production process. Electricity Company of Ghana metering system also uses custom production process. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so okay, school uniform, you said mass and customized. Okay, okay, good, 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 good. Souvenirs, mass production process, good. All right, all right, all right. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's take it one after the other, right? Let's look at mass production. So mass production is the backbone of modern manufacturing, okay? It is the backbone of modern manufacturing. It's the reason you can walk into any shop, right? Or game store in Lagos, in Accra, Indonesia, whatever country is that, and then buy a bottle of Coca-Cola for a predictable price. Okay, mass production. So if you're in Ghana, you go to any ShopRite mall, it's the same price, right? If you are in Nigeria, it's the same price. Anywhere, it's the same price, right? So producing large quantities of identical standardized products, that is mass production. Producing large quantities of identical standardized products. So we have examples, right? We have the automobiles, that's Toyota, Ford, and the likes. We have consumer electronics, right? Samsung, Apples, and the like. We have packaged food like Coca-Cola, Nestle, and the likes. And then we have household appliances, right? So the benefit is that the benefits are, number one, low cost per unit. Now, this is called economics of scale. So the more you produce, the cheaper each unit becomes. I mean, I remember when I started working, right? When I started working some years back, and we made an order for, I was requesting for 200 copies of flyer, and then they gave me the cost, right? And then I said, oh, this is too expensive. They said, if you're printing more, it becomes cheaper. And I'm like, wait a minute. If I print 1,000 or if I print 500 instead of 200, how much is it? And turns out you print more, the more cheaper it becomes. And so it was later that it made sense to me. And we are seeing it. I mean, most of us on the call understand this. But then back then, it didn't make sense to me, because I thought the more you print, the more expensive it becomes. Okay, so for mass production, it has low cost per unit. And this is called the economies of scale. The more you produce, the cheaper each unit becomes. Okay, and then predictable and consistent output. So let's say, for example, every Indomie pack you open tastes the same. Every Coca-Cola bottle has the same carbonation. That consistency is only possible through mass production. Okay, and then it's easy to automate. So machines can repeat the same process millions of times without error. This is the benefits of mass production. And of course, efficient use of specialized labor. So workers specialize in one task, thereby becoming extremely efficient at it. Okay, so let's take, for example, Dangote Sugar Refinery in Lagos. They process millions of bags of sugar using mass production. So without that scale, sugar would become maybe 3 times what it costs. Okay, so mass production makes everyday goods affordable for everyday people or everyday use. Okay, let me see, do we have any? Okay, I see. I got the notification in the chat, so I want to read. This type of production process helps Chinese companies to dominate. You can say that again. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so what are the characteristics of mass production? So let's go deeper into what makes mass production work. Now, there are 4 defining characteristics. One is standardization. So every product is made to the exact same specification. Same size, same weight, same composition. There is no variation between unit 1 and unit 10,000. So they produce, this reduces variability and cost, okay? It reduces the variability and cost. So number one characteristics of mass production is standardization. So example, right? Every Milo tin from Nestle, whether produced in Ghana, whether produced in Nigeria, contains exactly the same ingredients in exactly the same proportion, and that is standardization, okay? And next is mechanization. So machines replace human labor for repetitive tasks. Machines are faster, more consistent, and can operate around the clock without fatigue. Okay, example again, we have the Coca-Cola bottling plant. So machines fill, cap, label, and pack thousands of bottles per hour. Tasks that would take hundreds of workers' days to complete. So you see, mechanization is one characteristics of mass production. And then we have specialized labor. Okay, specialized labor where each worker performs one specific task, well-defined. So by repeating the same tasks, workers become highly skilled and extremely fast at that very one function. Okay, so example is an automobile assembly line, maybe in South Africa or in any country. So one worker fits the door panels, another probably installs the engines, another tests the brake. So each is a specialist. Okay, so that's what that's one of the characteristics of mass production, specialized labor. Okay, and then we have economics of scale. So as volume increases, the fixed cost. The fixed cost could be the rent, the machinery, the management. They are all spread over more units. Okay, so as volume increases, the fixed costs are spread over more units. So cost per unit will drop or falls. So example is if a factory costs, let's say, for example, 10 million to run per month and produce, let's say, 10,000 units, cost per unit would be 1,000, right? But if it produces 100,000 units, then cost per unit will drop to 100 naira. The same factory had but 10 times the output, 90% cost reduction per unit. So that's what we mean by economies of scale. Okay, so now let's look at the next, mass customization. Now this is where things get exciting, especially in today's digital economy. Mass customization is the best of both worlds. I would say that, right? Because first of all, mass customization is combining the low cost and efficiency of mass production with the flexibility of customization. Okay, mass customization is combining the low cost and efficiency of mass production with the flexibility of customization, giving each customer a personalized product. So this is made possible by technology, especially computer-aided designs and flexible manufacturing systems. So let's take, for example, Nike. Okay, on Nike's website, you can design your own pair of trainers. Choose the color, material, the sole, and even add your name. So Nike factory still uses mass production efficiently, but the configuration is unique to you. Okay, so that is mass customization. We also have, I also say Dell computers, right? Dell, they pioneered what they called, I think I was researching that some weeks back. So they pioneered what they called built to order model. So you go online, you configure your laptop, the processor speed, the RAM, the screen size, the color, and Dell builds exactly that for you. So they don't stockpile finished computers. Okay, and other examples, the BMW, yeah. So yes, so that's mass customization for you. The best part is that, you know, it combines the low cost and efficiency of mass production with the flexibility of customization, and that's what most people enjoy or like. Okay, so let's go to custom production. Okay, so at the far end of the spectrum, we have custom production, where every single product is designed and built specifically for one individual customer. So this is high flexibility, high cost, and low volume. So you are, you know, not producing for mass markets. You are producing for this customer with these specific requirements at the moment. Okay, so for example, tailored clothing, right? So let's say for a bespoke suit made to your exact measurement, preferred fabric, unique lapel style. You know, no suits are identical. You can also talk of custom furniture, right? A carpenter who builds a dining table specifically sized for your room in your preferred wood, you know, with your preferred finish. Okay, who can give us another example of custom production? Who can give us another example of custom production? Yes. Custom production. Who can give us another example of custom production? Quote in the chat room. Quote in the chat room. Anybody? Anybody? I hope I'm not speaking to myself alone. Okay, let me see what we have. Oh, okay, hairdressers. Yeah, tell us. Hairdressers, is that would you to explain why you think is a custom production? Yes, custom production, because it is just to your taste, your style. Am I correct? So it's custom made for you. Okay, a nanny and a chief or a chef. Okay, I guess it's a chef and a security officer. Okay. Inosim Motors does custom production for MDAs. Good, 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 good. Okay, good. Yes. All right. Yes, yes, yes. A customized packaging. Correct, correct, correct. Okay. Okay, good. So now let's look at, of course, we have personalized services as well, a business consultant, a lawyer, a personal trainer. These services are, you know, designed specifically around your situation and goals. So now let's take another example. So think of the master tailors in Lagos Island or in Abuja, Wuse Market, or in Accra, wherever. So they measure you, right? They discuss your style, your preferences. They select, you select the fabric together. He makes the suit and does three, and then you do 3 fitting sessions before completion. So the entire process is custom production. It takes longer, it costs more, but the output is unique and the customer pays premium. Okay, it is more expensive, you pay premium for it. All right. Okay, so let's take this class exercise right here. Okay, so think of a real business in your city. So write down the name of the business and then tell us which production type it uses. Is it mass? Is it mass production, mass customization, or custom made? And then tell us why, one reason why that production type is appropriate for that business. Okay, so think of a business, a real business in your city or wherever you are. Okay, think of a real business. So in the chat room, I need you to write the name of the business, tell us the production type that it uses. Is it mass production? Is it mass customization or custom production? And then one reason why that type of production is appropriate for that business. Okay, let's do that quickly in the chat room. So put your answers together. How do we classify a product that is produced for a country which is not allowed to be exported out? Specific example is some Chinese products. Well, I think I would say that is customized, right? That is mass customization. So they produce in mass, but it is only for their country. Okay, it cannot be exported to other countries. So they produce in mass, but customized for their country alone. So yeah, that will be mass customization. So let's attempt what the class exercise we have on the screen. So put this together in the chat room before we continue. Let me see how many. Oh, we are 20. We're 20. Okay, good. So please, let's attempt the class exercise. Put your response together and put it in the chat room. So I need everybody to participate. I need everybody to participate. Everybody on this call to participate. Okay? Okay. 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 Thank you, Rick. Okay. Okay. Because when you make your orders come just for you as you have ordered it. So it's personalized. Okay. Okay. Yes, yes. Dangote cement. Mass production. Who else? Smoothie shop, custom production. Okay. Mass customization. The reason is he does personalized production. Okay. 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 Gatti, your answer is not complete. Fresh and Dry PLC, okay? What kind of production process do they make use of? And why do you think that production process is the best or appropriate for what they do? Okay, so we have 1 more minute before we move on. Yes, yes, yes. Any other person? I want everybody on the call to participate. Okay, participate. Okay, Redeemers, Pure Water, Mass Production, Integrity. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Thank you very much for participating. And now let's move on to, we also have continuous production. Okay. Now let's look at the production from a timing perspective. How long does production run without stopping? Okay. How long does production run without stopping? So continuous production means the factory runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So there is no shutdown between batches. The production process literally never stops. And this is best situated for high demand, homogeneous products. So when I say homogeneous, I mean identical products where, stopping the process would be extremely expensive or even dangerous. Okay, so let's take, for example, oil refining. So the crude oil flows through the refinery continuously. Imagine stopping Dangote refinery is not like, turning off a tap. So the shutdown process itself costs millions. And that's why it runs continuously. Okay, even electricity generation. Okay, so let's say in Ghana, the Akosombo Dam in Ghana, so it generates power continuously. So if it stops, the entire country will go dark. Okay, steel and chemical industries. So they run, because the blast furnaces reach temperatures over 1,500 degrees Celsius. So switching them off and back on again will take days and will cost millions. Okay, so the benefit is that it has very low unit cost, high efficiency, and it's ideal for standardized commodity products. Okay, so that's for continuous production. It's actually the business runs every single day without stopping, and stopping it would actually cost more than having it run. Okay, so let's move to the next. So we have intermittent production. So at the other extreme is intermittent production, where production runs in short bursts. Okay, it stops, then restarts for a different product. So the equipment is highly flexible. It can be configured between production runs rather. Okay, and this makes intermittent production ideal for businesses that serve varied customer needs. Okay, so for example, here we would say restaurants, right? So every meal ordered is a separate production run. So when you order pepper soup and your friend orders fried rice, the kitchen runs two separate short production processes for two different products. You see, another example could be hospitals, right? So each patient receives a unique sequence of care, different tests, different medication, different procedures. So no two patient journey are identical. The hospital production is highly intermittent. Okay, and we also have custom manufacturers. Custom manufacturers, the job shops that makes, let's say, different product based on customer orders rather. Okay, custom manufacturers are those job shops that makes different products based on customer orders. Let's say, for example, a welding shop somewhere in Nigeria might take car parts on Monday and fabricate the market stalls, on Wednesday. So he can make the car parts on Monday and then fabricate the market stalls on Wednesday. So you see, it's a custom manufacturer kind of thing, right? And then we have customer printing. So let's say, commercial printing rather. Let's say a printing shop runs one job, and the job is 500 wedding invitation cards. So it has to clean the process, change the plates, and run the next job. So the next job could be 1,000 school brochures. So each is a separate intermittent run. So these are the examples of places or businesses or whatever that utilizes intermittent production system. Okay, so think of a popular shop. In the morning they make maybe cooking. Maybe in Ghana, for example, let's use Ghana, right? So in the morning they make they may be cooking maybe waki. Is it waki you call it, right? That is it waki you call it, or wake, I don't know. And then by lunchtime,
Wache.
wake, right? Okay, good. And then by lunchtime, they switch to make fufu with that palm nut soup, right? And then by evening, it's kinky, right? It becomes kinky with the grilled tilapia. So you see different ingredients, different processes, same equipment, right? Same equipment. The equipments are the pot, the water, the kitchen. So same equipment, but different ingredients, different processes. So that's the textbook intermittent production as a whole. Okay. So all right. So let's look at input to output process. Right, let's bring everything together with this powerful visual right here. Okay, so the input to output process. This is the I call the universal model of how production works. Whether you're making jollof rice or you're producing an aircraft or building an aircraft, this is, you know, how all production process works. So you have the inputs to the production and then the production process, and then the outputs. So inputs can be your raw materials, your labor, your capital, your technology, the energy, and all that, right? And then your production process would involve probably transformation, that is changing the form of the inputs, okay? And then conversion as well. So chemical or physical change will take place. And then assembly, that is putting parts together. And then quality checks, that is ensuring standards are met. So these are the production process. And then your output will now be, you know, the finished goods, the services delivered, the value created, the customer satisfaction. Okay, so let's map this to probably a pure water producer in Lagos, right? So for a pure water producer in Lagos, right, the the input would be the water itself, the raw water itself from the borehole. Then purification chemicals, plastic rolls, electricity, packaging machine, the workers, all these are inputs. Then the production process will now be the water filtration, the chemical treatment, the UV sterilization, the machine fillings, the sealings, the quality testing, okay, the packaging, all these are the production process. And then the output will now be the sachet water itself, and then, of course, satisfied and hydrated customers, which in turn will lead to revenue for the business. Okay, so every business you admire, be it Nestle, be it maybe MTN, be it Indomie, be it whatever it is, even your local, even those who, let's say, the tricycle, the Lamborghinis and all, every form of business, they follow the exact same model. And the complexities might differ, okay? Obviously they differ, but the principle is universal, is the same across. Okay, I think I saw, let me see what I have in the chat room. Well, I've been to pure water plants, so I've had a tour there. So yeah. Aviation oil production in Oman. Yes. I agree. Okay. So yes, that's the principle, the input to output process. It might differ between different industries and what have you, okay, but the principle remains the same. The outputs, the production process, the input, the production process, and the output. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so this is what I just explained, right? The example that I just gave us. So yeah. Okay, so now let's move to the next, right? Facility location. You see, we've conquered the production process, right? Now we will move into my section 2, which is facility location. And this is where strategy meets geography, right? Where you put your business, where you put your business, be it your factory, your office, your warehouse, whatever that business is. Where you put your business is one of the most consequential decisions you will ever make. If you get it right, and then you have a competitive advantage for decades. But if you get it wrong, you will pay for it for every single day of that business being there. Okay, so let's explore this together. Okay, let's look at the importance of facility location. Okay, facility location is one of the most significant long-term strategic decisions a business will make. one of the most significant long-term strategic decisions a business will make. So unlike pricing or marketing campaigns that can be, changed quickly, location decisions are largely irreversible. I mean, you cannot pick up a cement factory and move it across the country so if you choose the wrong spot, well, you can't just pick it up and move. So that's why it is the most significant long-term strategic decision that a business will make. The consequence of choosing a wrong spot will last for decades. So this slide highlights, 4 critical reasons why location matters so profoundly. Okay, so first is the operating cost, right? The land prices, electricity tariff, your water availability, your wage rates, the local taxes, all vary dramatically depending on where you locate. Okay, so a factory in, let's say, Abara Estate, Industrial Estate in Lagos, faces different cost realities than the one located in Kaduna or even in Kumasi. Okay, so they face different cost realities. And now let's look at transportation costs. So being far from your suppliers means high inbound logistic costs. Being far from your customer means high outbound distribution costs. So your location will minimize these things. That's why it is important to pay attention to choosing the location for your business. So these are the importance of facility location. That's what we're discussing, okay? So transportation costs, being far from your suppliers would mean high inbound logistic costs, and being far from your customers would mean high outbound distribution costs. So location would help you, minimize or manage this. Okay, and then of course, customer service. Proximity to your customer means faster delivery and response times, right? So for example, a bakery in Victoria Island in Lagos can deliver fresh breads to nearby hotels within, 30 minutes. But the same bakery in somewhere at Ikorodu and wants to supply to people on the Victoria Island would struggle. They can't match the one at Victoria Island at all. Okay, so customer service is one of the importance of, facility location that you have to pay attention to. And then we have labor availability. So you need workers, your business needs workers, right? So different locations offer different skill pools. A technology company would need software developers. Okay, so it probably would locate near a university or a tech hub. Do you see that? Okay, so a garment factory needs seamstresses, right? So it might locate near communities with that tradition. So the labor availability is something that you have to pay attention to when you are choosing your business location. So that is why, for example, Aliko Dangote, right? He had to build his massive refinery at Lekki, Lagos. Okay, so who can tell me why? Those of us in Nigeria, can you rack your brains and tell me why you think Dangote had to locate his, massive refinery at Lekki, based on the areas we've talked about, right? When considering location, your operating cost, your transport, customer service, availability of labor, okay? What about service production processes? What question was that addressing or referring to? Rick, you might have to unmute so that I would understand what your question was speaking to. Okay, so the question is those in Lagos or those in Nigeria, okay, based on what we've discussed, the operating costs, the transportation costs, your customer service, availability of labor and all that, the importance of your facility location. Why do you think Dangote had to locate his refinery at Lekki? Okay. Lagos is the central of business. Okay. Yes, Rick, yes, go ahead, please.
All right. Talking about Dangote's idea for citing his company around Lekki, precisely for me, having listened to him and various documentaries that were done by various media persons, I will just come to the conclusion. The fact is, the kind of equipment he needed to bring in to the country for that refinery was so massive that they had to make a seaport for him in that lake. So the sea opportunity there, and also as you are all aware, I think they have started shipping out product outside Nigeria. They sell out. So I think for me, just in a short word, it's very strategic for him. Since I'm not in the management, to have a holistic idea of why they have to site it there, but for my physical observation and information that are available, I will just say that it was strategic for him because both input and output, that is selling outside the country, he has his own seaports that he can easily export, thereby cutting all these bureaucracies in Nigerian ways. That's my suggestion on that. Then trying to ask the question on, you've been talking about production. So that is one side of it. And initially we talked about two sides, production and services. So that's why I'm asking, do we have any service, sorry to use the word production again, processes? Because service itself, there is a way, though you talked about it, but I wanted to know if we have if you would consider service. I won't say production because we as service, I operate in a service based company where what we give to company basically is on consultancy and also just like you talked about it. Now, how do we have a process? Do we have any process? Is there a way you can, or I don't know, I'm just trying to figure some things out. Thank you. You can take it up from here.
Okay. Yes, so I will come to your question just in a jiffy. So I see other responses as to why Dangote, okay, easy access to raw materials and labor, okay. Lagos is central of business. Labors are generally available, free trade zone, proximity to suppliers, labor and customers. Okay, yeah, I quite agree with your submissions, right? For me, I would also say that, I mean, it is near the coast. So like Mr. Rick has said, right? So he imports and imports. So for crude oil import, it's easier for him and export as well. And then of course, it's near a major port, near the largest consumer market in West Africa. So yeah, every location factor pointed to Lekki for him. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so coming back to your question, right? So the important thing is that every production process, whether you're dealing with product or service, right? Like when we discussed this, whether you're doing delivering product or service, this is the foundation. This is the bedrock. There is input. If you're into the service, production of service, you know exactly what your inputs are. You have a production process, and then you know exactly what your outputs are. So this is the most important thing that you have to put into consideration. There are outputs, there are inputs, and there are inputs, there are production processes, and there are outputs. So whatever we are discussing, you now have to tailor it to your service or whether you're producing a service or you're manufacturing a tangible product. So it just happens that for those who are producing tangible products, we're looking at where you locate your facility. Even if you're producing a service, right? You would also have to look at where you want, if you're going to have an office or where you want to be situated, except your service is, even if your service is a virtual service, you need electricity 24/7, or you need You know, you need electricity to be able to be online with your system, to be able to continue delivering that service, right? So if you go and live somewhere where you don't have electricity, maybe electricity in a week could be, or let's say in a day could be just 2 hours. So you're powering your generator for how many hours, working hours of the day. So you also would have to consider the location, your location where you are situated to be able to deliver that service. So as we are discussing the physical aspect of, you know, production and production, you'd also have to tailor it, you know, to those who are producing services. So for the example that I've just given, and many other examples, right? If you don't have a good internet connectivity where you are located, then your business is hampered, right? So you would rather want to live in a place where there is, you know, a considerable supply of electricity, and of course the internet connectivity is fair, compared to being in the opposite location. So these are, it's also important to consider your location, whether you're delivering a service or you're delivering a product, and then you put into consideration other factors that applies to you. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Rick. Okay, so now let's look at key factors in, you know, location decision, right? When businesses are choosing where to locate, they systematically evaluate these 6 factors. Okay, now first is raw materials. So businesses locate near their input sources to minimize transportation costs. Okay, so for example, palm oil processing mills in Edo State and Delta State are located there because that's where the palm tree grows. So it makes no sense to ship raw material, ship raw palm fruits across the country before processing it. So better you locate it where, you locate the factory where the raw materials are located. Then labor supply, right? You consider the labor supply. You need access to the right workers at the right cost. So for example, textile factories in Indonesia or maybe Bangladesh are located in regions with large population of skilled garment workers at competitive wages. Okay, and then another key factor is, you know, the energy costs, right? Energy costs. Heavy manufacturing consumes enormous amount of energy. So regions with cheaper or more reliable power will attract manufacturers. That's very simple. So in many Nigerian manufacturers in Aba or Kaduna have massive diesel generator expenses, cost disadvantage. So if you go and locate your business where, you know, there is no electricity, then you would spend more on diesel powering your generator. Okay, and then we have market proximity. So the closer to customer, the lower the distribution cost and the faster the delivery. Okay, Gatti says big mining in Ghana are mostly located in the western and eastern regions where we have huge mineral deposits. Exactly. Okay, and then we have government factors, right? So tax holidays, export processing zone benefits, and ease of business registration. All these influence location choices. Absolutely. So for example, companies, you know, that are located in Nigeria's Lekki free trade zone would enjoy significant tax and, you know, custom benefits. Okay, so these are key factors that you need to consider when choosing a location for your business. Very important. So some people would just sit at their homes and probably not even doing a feasibility study and say, you know what, I think I have to start this business and I would locate it. I'll put it here in the city where I live. But the thing is, there are so many factors to put into consideration. And what we've just discussed are factors that you really need to put into consideration if you to start your business. Okay. All right, so let's look at government factors in location decision. Okay, so now it is time to zoom into the government area or government side of things, because this is an area that many business owners in Nigeria, in Ghana, in any country at all can directly leverage. Okay, the tax rates. First is the tax rate. So corporate tax rates, property taxes, and import duties, they vary significantly between states and between countries. So a company might choose to incorporate in one country and manufacture in another country because of tax differences. You see, because they pay attention to these things. So they might decide to work to do their business this way, register in another country and operate or manufacture in another country just because of the tax differences. So for example, many businesses register in Ghana, Ghana free zones and pay reduced corporate tax rates, even up to 10 years. Same in Nigeria, okay? That's a major incentive for businesses, right? And then we have government incentives like grants, subsidies, targeted tax breaks, are offered to attract businesses to specific zones or to support specific industries, right? For example, the Nigerian agricultural sector, they receive various government incentives like zero import duties on agricultural equipment, fertilizer subsidies, they're all designed to encourage food production businesses to establish operations, right? And then we have business regulations like environmental laws, zoning regulations, the labor laws, safety codes. Safety codes also differ dramatically by location anyway. So a business that produces chemical, for example, must locate in a zone zoned for industrial activities, not a residential area. Okay, so this is definitely a business regulation. So, and this is regulated by the government, right? Then we have political stability. So long-term investment decision requires political predictability. Businesses, that hesitate to build factories in regions with businesses might hesitate actually to build industries in regions with, let's say, frequent conflict, unpredictable policy changes, or even currency instability, right? So, for example, this is one reason foreign direct investments. This is one reason foreign direct investment into stable markets like maybe Ghana's Accra metropolitan region often exceeds investment into more volatile zones, right? So because of this political stability. Okay, so the takeaway for entrepreneurs here is that before you lease or buy land, research the government factors in that area. You may discover incentives that you can access or the risk that you need to avoid. So it is important before you lease or you buy a land for your business, you have to research the government factors in that area. Some might discover that, oh, there are incentives that they can access, and some may discover, oh, there are risks that you need to avoid, and then you might have to look elsewhere. Okay. Is it Gatti? Yeah, Gatti says few years ago, Coca-Cola Ghana reduced its production in Ghana and was bringing in more products from Nigeria due to tax. Okay, you see exactly, right? Good. Okay, so now let's look at facility design and layout, right?
Sorry,
So,
Ma. Sorry to
yes.
cut you. We would need to go on the break.
It's okay. Okay, so when are we coming back? When are we supposed to take the break again?
Supposed to be 11:30 to 12. So from 12 we can
Oh,
continue.
okay.
So we
All
can
right,
come
that's
back 12:08. So
okay.
that would just be 30 minutes for everyone.
Okay.
But you can wrap up before we proceed.
Okay, okay then. All right. So yeah. So facility design and layout, right? So you have chosen your location. Now, what do you do with the space inside? Very important. So your facility layout is how you arrange the people, the equipment, and the material within your facility. Okay. And this, seemingly simple decision has a massive impact on how well your business operates. So the 4 reasons why layout matter is number 1, the workflow. A poor layout will create bottlenecks, right? This will point where work piles up and, slows down. So think of maybe a small restaurant kitchen where the fridge is on the opposite side of the room from the cooking station. So that means that every time the chef has to, walk back and forth constantly to access the fridge, and that is wasted time and energy. You see, so a good layout keeps work flowing smoothly from one stage to the next, like, water flowing downhill, and there is no bottleneck here and there. And then we have production efficiency. So equipment placed in logical sequence, will minimize unnecessary movement of materials and then reduces idle time. So the shorter the distance materials travel, the faster and the cheaper production becomes. Okay, so it's important to align it in such a way that the movement is easy. And then we have employee productivity. Very good. So a well-designed workspace will reduce physical strain, will reduce frustration and safety risks. So workers in a logical, ergonomically designed space are faster, safer, and happier. Okay, and then we have space utilization. So every square meter you rent or you own costs money. So poor layout wastes floor space on unnecessary corridors, poorly placed storage, and even awkward equipment arrangement. So good layout maximizes every square meter. So for example, if you visit any ShopRite supermarket, right, the layout is deliberate. Essential items like bread and milk are at the back, thereby forcing you to walk through the entire store. Now, promotions are kept at eye level. The checkout counters are placed, to minimize congestion. So every centimeter of that store or that mall layout was designed to optimize your shopping experience and their sales. So that is facility layout in action. I hope this helps to drive home the point on facility design and layout. So when you're setting up your business, you have to, put these into consideration. Okay, so yes, we can go on break now, and tell us again. This is 11:40, so we're coming back what time again? 12:10, is that correct or what?
Yes, that's correct. 12:10 is fine.
Okay, 12:10. Good.
Right.
So let's enjoy our break and we come back and continue this very interesting discussion. Okay, so see you by 12:10.
All right. message the group so others can join in.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. You're all welcome back from the break. Okay, so we were at facility design and layout. Okay. Mhm. All right. So please confirm that you can see my screen, and welcome back
Yes, I
from
can see your
your
screen.
break. Okay, good. All right, let me see. Okay, good. All right, so we move on to the next, and next is a type of facility layout, types of facility layout. Now, there are 4 main types of facility layout, and each suits a different type of production. Okay, so production, each suits a different type of production operation. Okay, so first is the process layout, right? This is grouped by function. So what we mean by this is that machines and workstations are grouped by the type of work they do, not by the product sequence. So for example, hospitals and machine shops use this, okay? Hospitals and machine shop use this kind of layout, the process layout, because machines and workstations are grouped by the type of work they do. So we're coming to see that as we unveil the rest of the slide. We're going to see more examples on that. And then next is the product layout. Now, this is arranged by sequence. So machines are arranged in the exact order of the production process. For example, car assembly lines and boiling plants are, examples of businesses that use product layouts, product layout, right? And then we have the cellular we have the fixed position layout. So where products stay in place. So the product is too large or complex to move. And in that case, the workers and the equipment come to it. For example, when you're building a ship, right? Or you're building you're assembling an aircraft, you don't bring the aircraft to the people. Rather, the people and the machines that work on it will come to where the site is located to do the work. Okay. All right. And we have the cellular manufacturing. Okay. Machines are grouped into small cells, so each capable of completing a family of similar products. For example, the technology manufacturing and in small batch production, they use this kind of facility layout. So we're going to take them one after the other. Let's look at process layout, right? So process layout, we've said, is groups. We said it groups machines and workstations by their function or their process type, not by the sequence of a particular product. So what we meant by that is, imagine in a hospital, right? There is a radiology department where all the X-ray machines are grouped. Then there is a laboratory where all the blood tests happen. Then there is a surgical theater, there is a pharmacy, and each of these is a function of a group. So you see, yes, Koku, yes, the slides will be shared after the lesson, right? Okay, so you see, this is how process layout is done. It groups machines and workstations by their function or their process type. And then, so key details from here, we see it is best for firms that, are producing varied product in small quantities, like job shops, hospitals, repair shops, and all. And then the key feature is that it has flexible equipment. Different products take different routes through the facility. So a patient with malaria goes to a different set of department than a patient who needs surgery. Do you understand? And then classic example is, hospitals, custom machine shops, universities, where different students take different combination of courses, right? So the main challenge with this kind of layout is that routing complexity, where different products take different paths. So scheduling becomes complicated because material handling cost would rise, and management becomes harder. That's the main challenge with this. So let's take an example. For example, a computer repair shop, right? I think I have the example here. Yeah. So a computer repair shop in Lagos. So one customer brings a laptop. Okay. Let me remove this from my screen so I can see. Okay, good. So one customer brings a laptop with a broken screen. Another brings a desktop with a virus. Another brings a phone with water damage. So each product takes a completely different route through the workshop. Different technicians, different tools, different parts. So this process layout, the process layout here is that it is flexible and varied, but complex to manage. So this is a typical example of a process layout, right? It's a typical example. So now let's look at product layout. Okay, so product layout is where machines are arranged in the exact sequence of the production process. So every product follows the same path from start to finish. And this is the classic assembly line rather. So, and this is best for, high volume standardized products where the production sequence is predictable and repetitive. So the key feature is that each workstation performs one specific operation. The product moves from station to station in its fixed sequence. Okay, classical example obviously is the automobile assembly, right? From welding to painting, from painting to engine fitting, from engine fitting to quality inspection and all that. So the car moves along the line and each station adds value to it. And the key benefit is that, it's very efficient, it's very fast and easy to automate. So this gives, a very low cost per unit at high volume. Okay, so I think I have an example here. Okay, good. All right, so let's take, for example, the Indomie production plant in Nigeria. So the raw wheat flour arrives and goes through, first of all, the mixing, the dough sheeting, the cutting, the steaming rather, the frying, the cooling, the flavor sachet packaging, the final packaging, the quality check, box packaging, and dispatch. So you see that every single pack of Indomie follows exactly the same path at the same speed through the same sequence of machines. That is product layout delivering mass production at minimal cost. So it's a straight path. And I have an application that I want to share with us. Probably some of us have been able to use that app. Let me bring it up. Okay, so we can all take a look at it, right? So here we are. Okay, so this is Lucid Chat, right? This is an AI app that I love to use when I'm drawing probably a flow chart or process mapping and what have you. It's just like for those of us who use Canva, it gives us templates, already made templates, so you can draft your business process, your flow charts, your whatever that is. So let me put in the chat room, lucidchat.com. Where is my chat room now? Lucid app. So we try Lucid app.com. I hope that's correct. See. Okay, lucid chart. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay, good. All right. So yes. So if you try and sign up there, so you can try your hands on, this, and it could actually help you with the arrangement of your business process and all that. So this is what the template looks like. And if you come here, then so I have a few things that I've done here. So, but when you finally open your application, and then you go to new, you click to open a new page to work on. So what when you click on that, this is what you automatically have, right? So when you click on new, a page like this would open with a blank template. So you are going to fill up the process, the template that you're going to fill up the templates following the process that you want. Okay, so what we've seen, or what I've just described earlier with the Indomie plant, right? So when you start the raw flour, right? The raw flour arrives and goes through the mixing. And then next is the dough sheeting. Next is the cutting. Next is the steaming, the frying, the cooking. Okay. The flavor sachet packaging, the final packaging, the quality check, the box packaging, and then the dispatch, and that ends the process. So you could use this for those who are doing business already, or those who are aspiring to start their own business. You can try your hand on this lucid chart. The good thing is that it has different templates. Okay, you see, you have a blank one. If you want to do flow chart, if you select that. If you want to, let me take this up. If you want to, where is my, okay, let me close this now. Okay. It has different templates. I have a lot of things on my screen, right? So it has different templates. You can decide whatever it is that you want to work with, okay? So if you select template, you're going to see flowchart, mind mapping. If you want to develop or design your business process, right? You see the business process template, okay? Your organogram, you see the templates. You try your hands on any of these. So you have an already made, template that you can use to actually build or design whatever it is you want to design. Okay, so that's it for Lucid Chat. Try to register on it and then try your hands. Just take your time. You'd be able to, be able to work with it. Okay, so yes, so this is the process that we've just seen, or I've just described in our slide. And so I have it all from start to finish here. So if you wish to add more, and there's another, so you just have to, copy and paste and duplicate, and then continue with the process based on exactly what you want to add, right? You double click and then you type blah, 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 blah. So try your hands on it, and you'd be able to, you'd love the use of this application, okay, for your business process, your whatever flow chart and all that. Okay, so let's go back to our slide. Just a minute. Let me put on. Okay. Right. Okay, so this is an example of product layout, right? So here I have an assignment for us. So this is what you also be able to work on. So your first assignment would be to draw a simple product layout diagram, okay, for a bottled water company. So you list at least 5 production stages in the sequence. So we've just seen this is for Indomie, right? From mixing to sheeting to carting. So you have the different processes. So you design yours, you develop yours, right? Draw a simple product layout diagram for a bottled water company. If you want to use the Lucid chart, fine and good. If you want to do it this way, fine and good, but try to attempt that. All right, so now let's look at fixed position layout, right? So fixed position layout is used when the product is so large, so heavy, or so complex that it cannot move through a production line. So instead, the product stays in one place and all the workers, the equipment, and the materials are brought to it, right? So I mentioned earlier shipbuilding. So a massive oil tank, right, sits in a dry dock for months or years. So electricians, welders, plumbers, painters, engineers, they all come to the ship and the ship never moves until it is completed. Same goes for aircraft and all that, right? Even in construction of hospitals or buildings, right? Okay, the task again. Don't worry, you get the assignment at the end of the class. The assignment will be shared with you, okay? So the same goes for construction of buildings, right? And all that. Then we also have film production, right? So the movie set stays fixed. The camera, the crew, the lighting, the technicians, the makeup artists, the sound engineer, the actors, they all come to the set. So this example of a fixed positioning layout. Okay. So the key insight here is that, fixed positioning layout is expensive. Coordinating all these different specialists at one location, coordinating them and bringing them to one location is logically complex. But for products like sheep, plane, and buildings, there is simply no other alternative. It is just the way it is. Okay, so now let's go into resource planning, right? So we've covered the production process, the facility decision. Now let's move into my section 3, which is resource planning. And here is the hard truth. You cannot have the best production. I mean, you can have the best production process and perfect location, but if you run out of raw materials, let's say on a Monday morning, your production will stop dead. So if your key machine breaks down and you have no spare parts, you will lose customers. Or if you hire too many workers for too little work, your payroll will crush your margins. So resource planning is how you prevent all these from happening, and let's learn why. Okay. So first is resource. So let's look at resource planning. Resource planning is the systemic process of ensuring that the right resources, that is your material, your labor, your equipment, your capital, your time, your information, they are all available in the right quantities at the right time. So this slide explains or identifies 6 key resources that must be planned. First is material. So the raw material, the raw inputs and component needed for production. I mean, or whatever is your raw material or raw input or component that is needed for your production, that is your material. And without them, production cannot begin. And then we have labor. So the right number of workers with the right skill available when needed. That is your labor. So too few, and if you have them too few, your production slows down. If you have them too many, your cost will spike. Okay, and then we have equipment. That is your machinery and tools must be operational when needed. So this requires maintenance, scheduling, and spare part management. Very important. Okay, and then capital, your financial resources to fund purchases. So you cannot buy materials if you don't have cash or credit. Am I correct? Of course. So, and then time. Oh, resources must be scheduled to avoid idle time. A worker standing around and waiting for materials is a wasted resource. Okay, and then information, that is data on customer demand, inventory levels, and supplier leads. Helps the business. So if you need to have your data on your data on customer demand. You need to have your inventory levels. Okay, you need to have your inventory levels. Your supplier lead times enables better decisions. So if these things are lacking, then you are not actually planning your resources in the correct way. Okay, so an example, let's say for a palm oil processing mill in Rivers State, right? It must plan all the 6 areas. And then let's take, for example, the material is that enough palm fruits. There is enough palm fruit to keep the press running, right? The labor is that there should be enough workers to harvest seasoned peaks of the palm fruits. And then your equipment is expeller machines serviced before the harvest begins. So the machines has to be serviced at when due. And then capital, the cash to pay farmers for fruit before processing and selling. And then your time could be, production scheduled around palm fruit harvest season. So you might have to schedule your production to only happen when palm fruit harvest is closed, or when palm fruit is ripened, or it's the season for palm fruit harvest. And then your information is knowing the market price in advance to decide when to sell. So every one of these resources must be planned and coordinated. If you miss one, and then the whole operation suffers. So it's very important to put into keen consideration your resource planning. Now, next is inventory management. So let's focus specifically on one of the most critical resources to manage. It is the inventory. So inventory management involves controlling the levels of good held at each stage of production, okay, to balance cost and availability. So there are 3 types of inventory. You have the raw material inventory, and these are your inputs that are purchased from suppliers that are waiting to enter the production process. Okay, they sit in your warehouse or storage areas. They are ready to be used. So example, let's say the steel coils at a car plant waiting to be pressed into body panels, or bags of flour at a bakery waiting to be mixed. Then type 2 is work in progress inventory. So these are, partially manufactured products currently moving through the production process. That is what we call the work in progress inventory. So they have been started, but are not yet finished. So example could be a car body that has been welded and painted, but not yet had its engine installed. Okay, or even a garment that has been cut, but not yet sewn. So these are work in progress inventory. And then you have the finished good inventory. So these are complete products that are ready for sale or delivery to customers. So they sit in your warehouse, they're waiting to be dispatched. Okay, so example, let's say boxes of Indomie noodles stacked in a warehouse, ready for distribution to supermarkets. So these are the different inventory management that do exist. So you have the raw materials inventory, you have the work in progress inventory, you have the finished good inventory. And I tell you, when it comes to inventory, a lot of businesses are getting it wrong. A lot of small, medium businesses or enterprises are actually not paying attention to their inventory. And that is why most of them suffer. They feel, oh, even down to the hairstylist who sells, petty things, or even the children hair, it sells the children hair clip, sells the beads and all that. Inventory is important to know exactly where you are headed to know exactly what are the goods that are available, what has gone out, what is remaining, to know when you need to restock a particular thing. But they just do it off head, and then they end up having challenges with their inventory. Okay, so now let's look at importance of inventory control. Now, here is one of the most important balancing acts in business. How much inventory should you hold? Too much is bad, too little is bad. So you need to find the, optimal balance. So too much inventory, right? Too much inventory, the problems are high storage and warehouse costs. Okay, so you are paying to store goods that aren't generating revenue. Imagine that. Okay, and goods may spoil or become obsolete, right? So for example, fashion items, if you store so much of it, it can go out of fashion, right? So examples of these are fashion items, food products, electronics. They all lose value over time, right? And then capital is tied up. Capital is tied up. So money locked in inventory could be invested in growth. So it marks operational problems. Okay, if you always have plenty, you neither would notice inefficiencies. Okay, and then we have high insurance and handling costs. But when it comes to too little inventory, what are the problems? It also has its own problems. Production halts when you run out of what? Raw materials. So the factory stops, and that's expensive. And then we also have customer orders getting delayed or canceled. So they go to your they obviously will go to your competitor if you are out of if you're out of what they need from you, right? And then lost sales, and it damages your reputation. So you can't make peak demands. You can't make peak demands, because imagine a Nigerian food manufacturer running out of stock during the Christmas season. Ooh, that would be very, very bad, right? Then you have strained supplier relation with emergency orders. So example, during the COVID, many pharmaceutical companies globally ran out of key raw materials because they had minimal inventory to save costs, or they held minimal industries to save costs. Inventories to save costs. So what was the result? Medicine store shortage, and the lesson is you should have some inventory buffer. That is essential, especially for critical inputs. Okay, so the goal is maintain an optimal balance, enough inventory to meet demand without excessive carrying costs. So this is what tools like economic order quantity and just in time tools help business to achieve. So it is important to maintain an optimal balance. Don't have too much, don't have too little. Just find a way to maintain an optimal balance. Okay, so supply chain. Right now, let's zoom out from the individual business and look at a larger picture, the supply chain. Supply chain is, the entire network of organizations involved in getting a product from raw material to finished customer. So look at the 5 stages on the slide, right? We have the suppliers. So the suppliers provide the raw materials and components. So for example, cocoa farmers in Ghana supplying a chocolate manufacturer, right? Then we have manufacturers. Manufacturers, they are the ones who transform the inputs into finished product. For example, the Cadbury processing cocoa into chocolate bars, right? And then we have the distributors. They move goods from the regional distribution hubs. For example, the logistic company transporting the chocolate from the factory to a regional warehouse, right? And then we have retailers. The retailers, they are the ones who sell to the end consumer. So example is ShopRite, Konga, or local kiosks selling the chocolate bars. Those are the retailers. And then the consumers, they are the final users who buy and consume the product. Okay, so a relatable example would be, let's see, okay, so let's trace a bottle of Fanta, okay, from start to finish in Nigeria. So the sugar from Dangote Refinery, right? So Dangote Refinery would be the supplier, okay? And then mixed and bottled at Coca-Cola Nigeria, maybe Nigeria Lagos branch. So that is the manufacturer. And then transported to Coca-Cola depots across the country, that's the distributor. And then stocked at a restaurant or pharmacies or supermarket, that's the retailer. And then sold to a student buying lunch, maybe at the university or wherever, that's the customer. So 5 different organizations, but 1 bottle. That is the supply chain. 5 different organizations or different levels, but still 1 bottle, and that's the supply chain. So the key insight is that a weakness at any link weakens the entire chain. So if the sugar supplier fails, Coca-Cola cannot bottle. If the logistic breaks down, the retailer will run out of stock. And if the retailer are poorly located, then customers can't access the product. So every link matters. All right. Now let's look at the supplier relationship. Yes. Now here is a statement that, may not, or rather might surprise some business owners. Your suppliers are not just vendors. They are your strategic partners. No, okay? They are not just vendors, they are your strategic partners, because businesses that invest in deep trusting relationship with their suppliers will gain competitive advantage that competitors cannot easily replicate. Okay, so the key benefit of strong supplier relationship is 1, maintain quality. So when you have a trusted, long-standing relationship with a supplier, they understand your quality standard. They deliver consistently to specification. So you receive fewer defective materials, which means fewer production problems. Okay, and then ensuring reliability, another benefit, because dependable suppliers will reduce the risk of production stoppage. So if a trusted supplier knows you are a valued customer, they patronize your orders, even during their own supply constraints. Okay, and then another benefit is reduced cost. So long-term partnership, often offers better pricing. Okay, extended payment terms as well, volume discounts, and even early access to new materials. So you earn this benefit through trust and consistency. And then another benefit is it enables innovation. So the best supplier relationship involves collaboration. Your supplier might, suggest a better material, a more effective packaging solution, or even a cheaper alternative that improves your product. And another benefit is related. Okay, so I think I would give, before I proceed, I'll give a relatable example, right? Okay, so Toyota's relationship with its supplier is legendary, right? Because rather than consistently switching to the cheapest supplier, Toyota builds 20 to 30 years relationship. So they share technology with their suppliers, they help them improve quality and treat them as partners. And the result is that Toyota receives constantly, or rather a consistent, excellent component that allows them to build consistently excellent cars. Right, so it is important. Now, a contrast would be maybe a Lagos manufacturer who builds material from, who buys material rather from a different supplier every month based on whoever is cheaper. So you see that short-term cost, that short-term will cost them savings, but constant quality variation. Because you buy from customer A this month, and then next month, customer A is not available to supply to you, and then you go to, supplier A is not able to supply to you, go to another supplier B. And then at the end of the day, it affects your quality. Okay, it affects you get to have quality variations, unreliable delivery, and no partnership benefit at all. Okay, so it's important to pay attention to this. Okay, so these are the benefits of having a good supplier relationship. So it's important to know that your suppliers, they are not just, you know, they're not just, they are part of, they are strategic partners of your business and not just vendors only. Okay. So now we've made excellent progress, by the way, and now we are halfway through our session. So let's move into section 4, which is production control. Now, I'd like to say that planning production is one thing, but ensuring that it actually happens on time, within budget, and to quality standard is another challenge entirely. So production control is the set of tools and processes that help to keep everything on track. Think of it as, you know, the air traffic control of your business operation, constantly monitoring, adjusting, you know, and correcting the course. So let's go deep into it. So production control ensures that operations run efficiently, on time, within budget, and to specification. So if you don't pay attention to this, your business process will have a challenge. Okay, so it has 5 key components. One is routing. So this determines the exact sequence of steps a product must pass through, which departments, which machines, in what order. So route finish. Okay. And then, oh yes, I see your chat, Gatti, right? Yes, I agree with you. Chinese companies are smart in doing this. Right. Okay. And then next is scheduling. This sets the timeline. So it answers, when does each step begin? Okay, it's become what? Chaotic. So it is important to schedule. And then the next is dispatching. And this is the trigger. It releases the work order and authorizes production to begin at each step. So dispatching is when the plan becomes action. Okay, and then monitoring. This tracks, you know, the actual progress against the plan. It tracks the actual progress against the plan. And are we on schedule? Are quality standards being met? Are resources being consumed or planned? These are what you ask and answer during monitoring, and that is what monitoring takes care of. Then we have corrective action. When monitoring reveals a problem, be it a delay or a quality issue or a resource shortage, corrective actions, you know, adjust the plan to get back on track. Okay, and I think an example here would be, okay, so think of an organization, or rather think about organizing a graduation dinner for 500 students. Okay, so you would need routing, you would need venue preparation, right? You would need the food cooking, you would need the table setting, you would need the, what else? Guest arrival, you would need the serving, you would need the cleanup. Okay, so that's where your routing comes in, right? And then for scheduling, your scheduling would be maybe your venue set up by 4 p.m. Your food should be ready by 6 p.m. Your guests should arrive at 7 p.m. Those are what your scheduling takes care of. And then your dispatching would be, oh, the chef should give green light to start. The chef should be giving green light to start the cooking at 2 p.m. So that would be your dispatching. And then monitoring, checking at 5 p.m. that food is on schedule, right? And then your corrective action could be, oh, if food is behind schedule, call in 2 extra kitchen helpers. That could be your corrective action. So production control is event planning for your business. And every single day, you need to do this. Okay, so it is important to have production control as far as your business is running. Okay, and then we have routing. Okay, let's go deeper on routing. So the first step in production control, that is routing. Okay, now routing determines the sequence of production steps, which departments and machines a product passes through, in what order. These are, what definition, what routing determines. Okay, so let's look at an example for a production route in, as you see on the slide, right? So the raw material intake, the cutting and forming, the machining and processing, assembly, quality inspection, packaging and dispatch. So every step must happen in sequence. You cannot assemble before you cut. You cannot package before quality inspection. So routing establishes the non-negotiable order. Okay, and why does routing matter? Because it helps prevent bottlenecks. So by mapping out every step in advance, so no surprise creates pileups. And it also ensures, that materials arrive at the right workstation at the right time, not sitting idle in the wrong place. And then it also provides the blueprint that makes scheduling and monitoring possible. So you can't schedule what hasn't been mapped. It's as simple as that, right? So let's route the production of a custom kente cloth in Ghana, right? So I wanted to use this example. So I had to research this Gatti, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. So okay, so first of all, you have the customer consultation and the design selection, okay? And then first you have to do your thread procurement. That is the specific colors for the production of the cloth, right? And then you do the loom setup and threading. And then you now proceed to the weaving. That is the horizontal weft, right? And then you do quality inspection, checking the pattern consistency. And then what else? Okay, finishing and pressing. And then the customer comes and fits before the delivery. Okay, so every kente piece follows this route. So if a loom setup is skipped or done wrongly, the entire weaving stage will be compromised. So routing prevents any form of error within your production process. Okay. So we have next now we have scheduling, right? So once we know the route, that is the sequence of steps, then we need to know when each step happens, and that is scheduling. So scheduling determines the time required for each production stage and assigns time slots to tasks, to machines, to workers. And there are 3 stages. And there are 3 stages of scheduling, right? So we have the master schedule, right? So the master schedule, that's the big question, the big picture rather. So what must be produced overall and by when? This is based on customer orders or sales forecasts. So example would be maybe a master schedule says we must produce 50,000 units of product X by the end of March. So that would be a master schedule. Then detailed schedule is the breaking down into specific details and weekly tasks for individual machines and workers. So example would be, machine A would run product X components on Monday. And then on Wednesday, machine B will run them. And then on Thursday and Friday and all that. So you spell out these, you spell out the details of the schedule. And then the short-term schedule, would be, is actually the daily operational plan. What is each worker, what is each worker and each machine doing today and this week? So example would be maybe worker Emeka operates the packaging line from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then relief shift will take over at 1 p.m. So you see, that's the short-term scheduling. Okay, so the key outcome is that every resource, be it worker, machine, material, and etc., is in the right place at the right time. Okay, so an example would be, let's say a Lagos printing company receives an order for maybe 10,000 wedding cards that is needed by Friday. Then there's another 5,000 business cards that is needed by Saturday. And then there is another 20,000 flyers that is needed by next Monday. So the scheduling manager must sequence these jobs, assign them to specific machines, schedule the press operators, and ensure that paper stock is available for each job at the right time. Get the scheduling wrong, and the wedding has no invitation card. And that is a serious operational and reputational failure. So scheduling is very, very important. Okay, and then a tool that can help with that, we have the Gantt chart. Okay, so this is one of the most useful planning tool ever invented, the Gantt chart. So the Gantt chart is a horizontal, bar that visibly displays scheduling tasks over time, making it easy to track project progress at a glance. So you look at the chart on the slide, right? So the tasks are listed vertically on the left. Okay, so you have the design, you have the procurement, manufacturing, assembly, testing, and then the week 1 through week 8, you can see runs horizontally across the top. So each colored bar shows when the task is scheduled, to begin and how long it will take. All right, so that's how the Gantt chart helps, to identify and plan your task. Please give me 1 minute. Let me put on my AC, please. All right, so let's look at the critical path method. So the Gantt chart shows us when tasks happen, but the critical path method shows us which task is delayed, will be delayed, and what have you. Okay, it shows us which task is delayed, which task, if delayed, will delay the entire project. So the critical path method identifies the longest sequence of dependent tasks required to complete a project. This sequence is called the critical path. Any method in the critical path delays the entire project completion. So let us understand the key concept, right? Critical path, this is the longest path through the project network. Oh, okay. I need to turn on my alternative power source. Okay, please, Damola, can you give me 10 minutes? Can you give me 10 minutes? And let me quickly turn on an alternative power source.
All right,
okay?
All right, no problem.
All right.
So please, I'll be sending in the attendance form and the feedback form. So please kindly make sure you fill the attendance form and the feedback form. It's very important for us to know on the feedback form for you to serve you better, how the classes can be more engaging and more interesting. And, let us know from our students what exactly they expect. And also, Transformation College is always here to make everything better for you. So I'll be sending it as we speak. And if you have not filled the attendance form, please make sure we all do that momentarily. I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. Am I audible, please? I need a reply in the chat box, or you can mute your mic to speak so I know that I am loud and clear and I'm audible.
You are loud, clear, and audible.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that confirmation. So the links has been sent to the chat box. So while we wait for Ms. Edith to get to change over to alternative power supply, please let us all use that medium to fill out these forms. And please, we should not forget that the assignment would be inside your materials, and the materials will be shared immediately after the class. So it will be easier for every one of us to do our assignments, and make sure you submit it to the email that will be designated to the link submission. So please make sure to check your group for anything you need. And if you have any inquiry, or you have any difficulty, or you're going through any stress, just send a message to the admin. If you don't know the admin's number, you can just send a message in the group that, please, I need to talk to the admin, and I'll send you a private message of the admin's number and how you can get through. So it will be easy for every one of us to be able to do that. So please, if you fill the attendance form, I need a yes, yes, yes. Members fill the attendance list right away. Please, this is a Zoom call, so if I drop the admin number, if somebody else is just joining, or you have a network issue, you won't be able to get the number. So if you're not on our group, on our WhatsApp class, if you are on the WhatsApp class, signify. If you're not on the WhatsApp class, signify so that I can send you a link to join the WhatsApp group, so that you can get direct access to the material, the recorded video of the session, and more of that. And I'm sorry, I would not be sending it personally to anybody's email. The links will be sent to the WhatsApp group. That's why we have a group where everybody can get access to Transformation College directly. So please kindly make sure that you have joined the WhatsApp group. And if you have not joined the WhatsApp group, please just register. Once you register, it will be sent to you via email. Thank you for registering and joining Transformation College of Business and Technology. And you will see a link to the WhatsApp group under that email. That is your WhatsApp group to the course you registered. So that will be very, very easy to, But regardless of that, I will still be sending the WhatsApp link once more to this group. Just give me a minute while I do that. All right. So I've been able to send. All right, Mr. Rick has completed the feedback form and attendance form. That is amazing. That is superb. So I've sent the link to the WhatsApp group for every one of us to join if you are not part of the WhatsApp group, so you can get easy access information to the material once more, to the link, to the YouTube link, and every other thing you would need. So I'm sure that it will be easier for every one of us to be in line and be able to get easy access information from us. And hello, Miss Edith, are you there or are you done? Hello, can you hear me? Am I still audible? My network is showing me that the network is a bit bad. All right. Thank thank you, Godwin Edwards. Thank you very much for the constant feedback. Please let's just give her if 1 or 2 minutes to get back onto the call and we proceed from there. The class should be rounding up in the sessions right now, so sorry for I will send the feedback form once again and the attendance form once again for anybody that's having network issues, because I know network issues is something that we cannot control in Nigeria here or any other part of the world. It's part of those things that, when it happens, just have to be patient and retry again. So I've resent the attendance form and I'm sending the feedback form again. Let's give Miss Edith a few minutes while she reconnects. I know she'll be back shortly. So please let us be patient and wait for her to connect.